Well, everybody, since it's just after 5:30, we do expect Jim to join us shortly, but I think for the sake of time, and to give the planning board the opportunity for the remaining discussion, we might as well kick off the meeting. This evening, actually, we're gonna have a little bit of a whole change of plans, or change of structure. Shalice is gonna provide all of the presentations to us. So I'm going to hand it over to her to highlight the highlights of the 3 different agenda items that are all these sorts of reviews.
So we have 3 items on the agenda this evening. All 3 are historic site reviews. The first is the Impact ADA platform program 3 that will be returning. We heard from them 2 months ago. They were here because they were adding an accessible ramp on the structure to the west of the primary train station structure. Depending down to the platform, which they are also improving. The historic site review is limited in scope to the ADA platform area that is occurring on the 1886 MLC parcel. So it's not including the improvements within the railway homes section of the site. Sorry, I don't know if it's good. So they were here 2 months ago. The board had a couple of questions for them, which they have addressed in the application. Specifically, the questions down are related around the availability of ADA parking and the rearrangement. They're relocating these spaces. There was also a question of the paint color of the railing on the ADA ramp. Questions as well about the photometric plan, or excuse me, the photometric plan. And water. Questions for DPW and environmental regarding water and sanitary improvements on the site, which have been either addressed or they want to be addressed because they're not, they're remaining unchanged. And again, the applicant has addressed those within their application. The last main question was the view shed, which they have addressed how that will be preserved with the grading of the roof structure, the canopy structure over the ramp. Jim, welcome.
Thank you.
Do you want-
2 minutes late.
Do you want to lead discussion on that item before I go to the next one?
Yes, are there any other questions about it? Board has. Any questions on this?
No,
No.
it just barely started presenting.
Okay.
Just to note, the applicant will be attending to a Zoom for that item tonight. I do see that they are in attendance. Once we proceed to the live meeting at 6 p.m., we will call them over as a panelist to present. She can see this now. She can see everything.
This gentleman handout here that they gave us, you're gonna seen this. Looks like they're going with 167A,
Yes, we asked
but the shape and the color to be determined on the mock-up.
yeah, they did provide that one. It's one of the handouts in here is the mock-up.
That's the pattern, and then they're just gonna color match. That's it. Yeah, okay.
Out of curiosity, the platform to the adjacent grade, do we know what the elevation changes?
I don't have that here, it may be in the full plans that which they have provided. We did not provide full copies of the plans that to the board, they are digitally in the Google folder.
Yeah.
We do have one here, if anybody needs to see a hard copy tonight.
Could I please?
Yeah, and I have it available for everyone for screen. We must. Rick, I apologize, would you mind just speaking up a little, we're having a little bit of difficulty hearing.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I think there's like a B behind us.
And just
Okay.
a reminder, I think if you could try and speak up when you get back to me.
I'm notorious for speaking low too, sorry.
Rick, are you looking for the drainage? Is that what you're thinking?
No, when the train is not there, it's an access route for people to cross or do whatever it is they're gonna do. And I just wanted to, it got biased the last time. I didn't know what that change in elevation was. I was just curious.
Okay,
And I would just like to remind the board that this will be for a historic site review
Yep.
versus a site plan review.
Yep.
And whatever approvals may happen tonight are just for the historic criteria.
right.
I'm always of the mindset, we can identify an adverse condition. We should bring it to their attention so that they can address it.
Right, that's a recommendation.
Yes.
Perfect.
Would we ask the property owner or the applicant about an identification placard, just?
Yeah, there is one on. Oh, wait.
It's perfect.
Oh, I apologize, we were not here, we provided that update, there is currently one on me.
Good.
It looks like they got back to us on the lighting too, so that's good.
On the railing style. It appears that they're gonna utilize similar railing style to the one that's up in Rouse's Point.
Did you see that?
Yeah, railing style, they're gonna look at the one that's similar to is in Rouse's Point.
They're saying they could maintain the horizontal one or propose one similar to that. Would be acceptable.
We have a picture of what's currently there for the railing at the station now.
So currently at the state.
It looks like the rendering has the horizontal, but they're saying that they can change it to the vertical.
I don't believe there's any really.
Okay.
There's one section, but it's not directly contiguous to where the ramp would be. It's actually in the front of the building where we go down Bridge Street. Or the, turn around. Zoom in, yeah, go a little bit further back past the top. Right, with that. When you have their circles there.
That little station.
Wheels, so.
I think the Rose Point one was really nice.
That's one of those nice, but they've already got vertical, or they've already got horizontal, but the guys with it, see. If you're trying to go for, continuum, good to have options.
You guys have any other questions on this one, or do you want to move to the next one?
I'm all set.
We all said move on. Okay,
The second one on the second item on the agenda is 5 Grove Street. It's a proposed siding replacement with in-kind. Replacing an existing wood shade siding with an in-kind white cedar shade window, shade window to a building located at 5 Grove Street, within the Portuguese Historic District. The property, those of you that have been on the board for a while, some of you may recall 127 Court Street that was before us about approximately 2 years ago. The 5 Wall Street property is on the same parcel. So it is within the boundary of Court Street Historic District, so it's not a Court Street address. It is within that boundary. The property owner is proposing to do a two-time replacement, so replacing the wood siding up there with a almost identical wood siding. We did receive a shipper response late Friday evening. I didn't know that up to the board earlier today. They actually identified it as a non-contributing structure to the historic district. And they did not have any adverse findings.
That's, it's identified as the same parcel, but they have two separate parcel identification numbers.
No,
Shows it on the exhibit. 5 wells is 207.18-5-15. And then the Court Street property is 5-16. That's on this reading.
what do we?
so
Where you,
the 5 volts is 5-16. At least that's what's being identified on the application.
Yeah,
I think it's the I think it's just that the address is going over. Are you looking at this one?
Yeah.
I think it's just that the address, the way it's written, but I think it's indicating this dot is where the
Okay.
address is.
Yeah, the dot is where 5 Wall Street is. 5-15 is actually 129.
okay, so it's Thank you.
We did confirm with the Clinton County real property, office that this parcel has not been subdivided or merged. This structure appears to be an accessory structure to the original primary structure. Potentially a carriage house, or garage type accessory structure that at some point before its domination was converted into a second residence. But it has always been part of the same person.
And SHPO basically said that it was, even though it's part of the district, it's not a contributing structure,
That's right.
so they don't have any. Stake in it, yeah.
The only thing I would note on this one is that there is some ornamental, design of the siding, there's, like a half round.
Yeah.
Siding, panel on there. Potentially, maybe would like that to. Happen, if they intend to.
As a non-contributing structure, how have we treated those in the past? It's non-contributing, but in the district. That would be a request, but not a requirement. Would that be the language? I don't know, right, question,
Be a question.
there you go, all right,
It raises more questions for the board than I think it answers.
yeah.
Staff agree, disagree?
I could advise you what the precedent has done in the past.
That'd be great.
The precedent has been that the board has approved alternatives to historic materials when it's not considered.
That was my recollection, but mine is shorter than others, so yeah.
I do recall it was one application, it was the board did consider alternatives. Any questions from the board?
What's the one I have?
Not we have, one more.
Yes, and the final item on the agenda tonight is 102 Bridge Street, which is in Point Historic District. It is a request to replace the existing asphalt shingle roof on a primary and an accessory structure with an in-kind asphalt shingle roof at 102 Bridge Street. Essentially, the roof has become very it's a significant state of disrepair. It has been patched, it has been hard, but it has not really held up, and it's significant water damage. They are requesting an in-kind replacement of those materials. In review of the historic nomination data, it does not identify what the original materials on the roof were. However, the house was built circa 1938, so asphalt was in the economy at that time. It's very likely that asphalt has been the original material on the building. We did receive a response to go late Friday night for that item as well. They did know that as a contributing resource, however, they did not have any adverse findings. Regarding all three projects, I apologize if I mentioned on the other two. We only received responses from MLD and police response. They had no comment on it either, or any project. We should give you the right of the contributions and the recording water.
So because there are existing services for the impact site for the Route 21 Bridge Street property, DPW did not have any concerns regarding those amendments on site because it wasn't requiring additional services to be provided with the site. So he didn't provide any further review of the services.
Is that, I'm assuming that's a recent discussion, with the,
I think I had that discussion probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago, on our farm. And encourage DPW to provide us with their comments. They can meet you.
so in that write-up, the to be determined is probably not applicable based on the discussion.
Right, we could remove that. And we're always hopeful that we will get those comments and any comments and judgment of this meeting.
Did anybody from the board have questions about the last application and the fee? Okay. Any further questions about any of the other applications? We do have a few extra minutes. Any new business from staff?
Not necessarily new business, but an announcement that we do have for Eric continuing on with us. So that's it. It's exciting news.
What did you say? I didn't hear you.
Rick is continuing on.
Continue.
Yeah, he had reached the end of his term and has been reappointed, he accepted that appointment. And he's back with us this evening. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, we really appreciate it. And then, we have the comp plan is moving forward towards adoption. We do have a public hearing scheduled for September 7th, and that will be followed by a council vote. So we're hopeful in that, being adopted on September 7th, fingers crossed. The zoning update, has hit a little bit of a delay, but is moving forward. We just had another CAC meeting last Tuesday, and we're looking forward. We did have to look at, reschedule the first public workshop. And that is now targeted, to October 18th in the afternoon, late afternoon. To accommodate the delays that we witnessed over the summer. But we're hoping that that gets back on track and moving forward towards a completion of having a draft early next spring, and then hopefully going towards adoption by next August. So we're only a few months behind our intended schedule. And then outside of the actual planning reviews, but news, a topic in the news was the Derby Street mixed use project. I don't know if you all have heard about that, but that didn't pass the litigation, so it's not moving forward in the court, so we're not further. So we'll have to wait and see what comes of that parcel in our project. And then I'm not sure if you all have seen it, but over the summer, the county did adopt updated floodplain mapping. So that's now gotten passed down to the city to review and adopt, propose and adopt a local law for that. There's a few areas within the city that will be affected by the adopted new mapping. And so just we often don't have to review those areas, but it's good to be aware of it. And get a number of things updating that.
Is that on county? If when you were to look up property and turn on a layer for GIS, is that updated on?
It was, yeah, previously it was a preliminary draft. And now it's getting up. And then, throughout this summer, it hasn't been widely discussed, but there has been a transportation listening session going on. And we've had a survey that we shared out, that the city shared out through my city Plattsburgh. For public at large to respond back to. The county has also shared the survey out. We just shared it out to the planning board again to make sure everybody on the planning board saw it this evening. And that survey and listening session are sponsored by New York State Department DEC Climate Smart Communities Program. So I just encourage you all to check that out. And then and it's being headed up by the Capital District Regional Committee. Through a consultant that they hired. His name is James Lee, paying for places, and he was hoping to attend our last parks event, but that unfortunately got rained out because we have this summer. So he's looking forward to attending the next park event, and I will leave the survey there as well. And I'm sure we've got another minute. And then finally, we're moving forward with the climate smart communities stakeholder information, internal stakeholder sessions for the completion of municipal operations, greenhouse gas and fleet inventory that we completed as part of that grant for New York State to communities. And will be moving that forward in the feedback that we get towards the completion of the municipal operations climate action plan. And then potentially down the road, we will towards doing the same exercise and process for the community at large. If we're able to obtain additional revenue. Yeah, that covers most everything, but there, I might have left.
Thank you. Okay, it is 6 o'clock. So call the meeting to order, planning board meeting for Monday, August 28th, 2023. We can all rise for the pledge of allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Just so you're aware, the applicants that are watching have messaged me and said that the audio is very difficult to hear. So you did all the script, please speak up, and I think we're struggling to hear.
If I can get a roll call?
Jim Abdell,
Yes.
Rick Perry,
Yes.
Abby Usiger, yes, Tom Cosgrove,
Yes.
Carly Leary, yes, and alternates Andrew Caston,
Yes.
and Sarah Danforth.
Yes.
Thank you. I guess we move right to our first application item, 23-01.
Okay, so I will present briefly the staff presentation, and then we'll turn this over to you and now we're going to do the event as well. Tonight's agenda, we have three items on tonight's agenda. The first is 23-01, impact leading platform program 2023, the historic, and historic site review. Item 2 is 23-03, 5 Street, a siding replacement, 2023. Historic site review, and the third item on tonight's agenda is 23-04, 102 Bridge Street, roof replacement, 2023. Another historic site review. The first item on the agenda, again, is 23-01, Impact ADA Platform Program 2023. Historic site review. The project is located at 121 Bridge Street. The request is to construct a new accessible ramp canopy structure on the property belonging to 1886 LLC to connect the sidewalk located on Bridge Street with the lower grade rail platform. Again, the property is located at 121 Bridge Street, tax map parcel 207.20-1-2.2. The property is zoned RC1. The owner is 1886 LLC. The applicant is Ellen Canal of Amtrak, and the plan preparer is Charles Miller of Canadian Associates. Here we have a map showing where the property is located. The yellow parcel is the property going to 1886 LLC. Here we can see the train station over here, some existing parking spaces right here, and a hillside right here where the ADA ramp is supposed to go. There's also existing parking improvements here. The railway here belongs to PNH Railroad, sorry. We also have a zoning map here showing that the property is located within the RC1 zoning district, the brown section here. And the site is located within the historic site, the railroad complex, which is itself its own historic site, not part of the existing district. Here we have frontage of the. I'm sorry, I'm trying to move the control. Here we have frontage of from Bridge Street looking north at the site. The ramp is proposed right here in this section. Controls. Here we have another view looking southeast for that section. And here looking north. Here we have an image down from the lower grade of the site, showing the train station. In the rear of the property is where the, on that hillside in the rear is where the ADA ramp is proposed to be. And improvement to the platform here for the front of the pictures where the parking is being used. Here we do have a plan detail to outline a little more closely what the improvements in this area are. Outlined in green over here is the existing train station building. And here and outlined in the light blue is the ADA ramp structure. A general description of the historic property. The original historic complex was approximately 18 acres, and included an irregular shaped railroad yard and the train station site. Today, the train station site is owned by 1886 LLC. The rail line is owned by PNH Railroad, and the remainder of the former rail yard property is distributed across 3 city-owned parcels. The only contributing features of the concept at its time of nomination that remain include this. At the time of the foundation, include the station, a repair shop, and a switching building. The latter two are no longer existing. The general proposed alterations, they are proposing to improve the existing passenger platform, to add a canopy to the platform, to construct a new covered ADA ramp structure, utilizing an undeveloped sloped hillside to the west of the building and existing wall. For the purpose of providing ADA access to the platform, they'll also provide additional site lighting adjacent to the ramp, update the signage, and modify the parking to accommodate the new covered ADA ramp. No alteration to the existing station building is proposed. The applicant proposes to construct a ramp structure that is suggestive of historic Canadian style trackside canopy structures with gable roof lines and angled supporting bracket. The applicant notes that the structure was designed to echo and be compatible with the existing station's roof line and the overall context of a historic railroad station. The proposed materials include a painted architecturally exposed structural steel frame canopy system with standing beam roof. Architectural concrete formed retaining walls with replicated block pattern and battered wall base. A partial windbreak screen of aluminum framed storefront window components with polycarbonate vision panels. And that's proposed toward the top of the ramp. And utilization of concrete to provide a connection to a pass-through platform and walkway at grade. Here we have a table pointing to the specific items or areas within the exhibit that you can find a description or more detail on each of those areas. Additional site improvements include grading and seeding of lawn areas, permeable pavers along the trackside canopy edge, signage along passenger routes, repurposing of the existing asphalt parking area to the west of the station for snow removal storage, and a below-grade stormwater retention system. Relocating the above-mentioned parking to the existing asphalt area to the east of the station. The applicant conferred directly with SHPO. They received a SHPO response last year in September of 2022. Based upon their review, they confirmed that the project as described will have no adverse effect on historic or cultural resources. The item was referred out to other departments. The only response that was received last at its initial review was from environmental services. Their comments were that they had no comments, one was no new sewer flows were being added and water and sewer utilities were not affected, which they are not. Here we have a breakdown of staff comments addressing each of the rehabilitation standards, the rehabilitation standards. According to the in review of the guidance from the U.S. Department of the Interior, the planning staff recommends that the planning board select rehabilitation as the appropriate treatment standard for the proposed project. Consider the following responses to be associated and rehabilitation standard. For the first standard, I believe that in your package you might have the full table that includes what the standard actually is. So standard one, a property will be used as it was historically or be given a new use that requires minimal change with basic materials, features, phases, and spatial relationships. And after you've been analyzed, the proposed use of the property remains unchanged from its historic use, so the standard does not apply. In review of standard two, the historic character of the property will be retained and preserved. The removal of distinctive materials or alteration of features, phases, and spatial relationships that characterize the property will be avoided. We note that an ADA ramp is consistent with the use of the property as a transportation node and in keeping with the character of the property. The applicant does not propose to remove or alter any features or species that characterize the property. And the applicant proposed a design attempting to preserve the unprotected and historically the undefined view of Lake Champlain from Bridge Street. So in review of these noted elements of the plan, it appears that the standard has been met. Standard two has been met. Standard three, each property will be recognized as a physical record of its time, place, and use. Changes that create a false sense of historical development, such as adding conjunctural features or elements from other historic properties, will not be undertaken. In review of that standard, we've noted that the applicant proposes use of materials that are distinguishable but complementary to the historic site. So it appears that standard has been met. In review of standard four, changes to a property that has acquired historic significance in their own right will be retained and preserved. in review of that standard, we know that no changes have been made to the site that have acquired historic significance in their own right, and therefore there are none to be altered. So this standard is not applicable. Do you guys want me to go to the other ones that are not applicable? Give a head. Thank you. Standard 8, archaeological resources will be protected and preserved in place if such resources must be disturbed. Mitigation measures will be undertaken. We've noted that there are no archaeological resources that will be disturbed. However, the board may wish to add a condition that in the event of uncovering an archaeological resource, the applicant will help construction and consult with the state historic preservation. And standard 9. New additions, exterior alterations, or related new construction will not destroy historic materials, features, spatial relationships that characterize the property. The new work will be differentiated from the old and will be compatible with the historic materials, features, size, scale, and proportion, and matching to protect the integrity of the property and its environment. We've noted that the new accessory structure does not destroy any historic materials that characterize the property. And the new work is differentiated from the old, with compatible with the mapping, size, scale, and architectural features of the property, complementing the primary structure. And finally, new additions and adjacent or related new construction will be undertaken in such a manner that if removed in the future, the essential form and integrity of the historic property and its environment will be unimpaired. We've noted that potential removal of new accessory structure is not foreseen at this time to impact the essential form and integrity of the primary structure. It is possible, however, that removal of the structure in the future may affect the environment of the property. The board may wish to consider options to ensure that the applicant would correct the grading and landscaping of the hillside to its current condition should the structure be removed. Further, the staff has noted that the proposed activity occurs on 2 separate parcels. One is owned by 1886 LLC, i.e. the train station property, and one is owned by D&H Corporation, or more commonly known as the railroad tracks. The scope of work under historic site review is limited to the construction of the covered land and canopy located on the 1886 LLC parcel. The improvements to the concrete passenger platform and sidewalk located on the D&H Corporation parcel are outside the scope of historic site review. It is recommended that the applicant, however, provide authorization from the D&H Corporation to the building inspector's office prior to obtaining a building permit. It is also noted that the proposed accessory ground structure contains a sloping roof that will defend the hillside, essentially preserving the view of the waterfront. So the view is identified as an element of the historic site. For this detail, it is additionally noted that the height restriction within the waterfront overlay district applies to site plan review. For structures within side yards and the structures located within the front yard, so it is outside of the purview of the historic site. Last, we also have noted, it is noted that the other proposal incorporates the transfer of existing parking from the location of the proposed ramp and platform on the west side of the existing parking and drive area. Providing station building to the east side of the area, including building. The historic character of the site and building will not be affected by the transfer, and therefore any other elements associated with parking would fall under the purview of site plan review and is outside the scope of historic review. And we have included the draft 23-01B approval template for review, modification, or adoption. And that is the end of the presentation. Jim, I don't know if you want to lead discussion first, or I get to the applicant next.
If the applicant's available, let the applicant
They are,
present.
and they are here. Hi, Alan.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for letting me join remotely this time.
No problem. Happy to have you join.
Did you have any additional items to offer or?
I believe that probably Shalice shared with you our responses to, I believe, the 6 questions that you had with some other sketches that were included. We didn't really have a presentation for today other than to further answer any of those questions that you had at the last meeting.
Thank you. Does anybody from the board have any additional questions, comments? Well, I guess there's no further questions from the board, so we'll just make it down through the normal process. To move the application forward.
Okay, let me know if we have any questions that come up along the way.
Thank you. So we do have a public hearing associated with this project, so I'm going to open the public hearing. Is there anybody from the public that has comment? If not, we'll move to close the public hearing. We do have a seeker form and draft resolution 23-01A. Lisa, is that something you can
Run through the paper.
yeah, run through the part two?
So for those in the audience, I will read through each of these questions, assuming the board has, believes no or small impact may occur, I will check that box, otherwise, if the board feels that a moderate and large impact may occur, they will speak up and engage in discussion. Will the proposed action create a material conflict with an adopted land use plan or zoning regulations? Will the proposed action result in a change or in the use or intensity of use of land? Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of the existing community? Will the proposed action have an impact on the environmental characteristics that caused the establishment of a critical environmental area? Will the proposed action result in an adverse change in the existing level or of traffic or affect existing infrastructure for mass transit by the no walkway? Will the proposed action cause an increase in the use of energy and it fails to incorporate reasonably available energy conservation or renewable energy opportunities? Will the proposed action impact existing public or private water supply? Will the proposed action impact existing public or private wastewater treatment utilities? Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of important historic, archaeological, architectural, or aesthetic resources? Will the proposed action result in an adverse change to natural resources, for example, wetlands, water bodies, groundwater, air quality, flora, and fauna? Will the proposed action result in an increase in the potential for erosion, flooding, or drainage problems? Will the proposed action create a hazard to environmental resources or human health? And part 3 will be adopted in coordination with the chair.
Thank you. With the completed part 1 and part 2, and we do have a draft resolution 23-01A. And motion for the seeker finding.
I'll make a motion to approve the seeker findings. If there's no significant adverse environmental impact. The question.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Roll call.
Jim Mondello,
Yes.
Jim Perry,
Yes.
Abby Nussberg,
Yes.
Tom Bosco,
Yes.
Carly Leary. Yes. Andrew Cascon. Oh, you don't say. Sorry, only that's fine. I can use them.
Thank you. So we have a draft resolution for the historic site improvement approval. That is draft resolution 23-01B. I'll note to whoever's making the motion, I did within staff review, identify 2 condition items, which would be item number 8 and number 10 of their review of conditions for your, for consideration and motion.
Should we also kind of confirm what the options that were outlined in the response, so I think I can look the railing,
And whoever, yes, there's other items that
yeah,
the board wants to point out.
Seriously.
I thought she was gonna say something.
Sorry, just the resolution, I don't believe they were in the packet this month, they were in the packet 2 months ago, which means Ricky might. I don't know if you have it with you, or if you brought
I
it.
get break.
Okay. So Carly may not have them, but I'm gonna see if you want the draft resolutions.
Yeah, we didn't have it in the packet for this much, and I didn't bring it back from last time, but so it's good to have it.
But we have it on screen.
We do have it.
And Abby, you had a couple additional
Yeah,
things
I
in
just-
discussion.
I just thought we should address the options that were outlined in the response for number 6 regarding the railing style, and I would propose that we recommend option B. Similar to Brett's point in the black finish.
You would recommend what? Sorry.
Option B,
Option B.
yeah, in I guess response number 6.
Is outlined in the numbers.
Were there any other items that you?
That was the only one.
Is it included? Review. Even though they talked about the parking here, we're not reviewing their parking choices right now, so that's not part of the story tonight.
That is, so in the last meeting, when this was presented, the planning board did have a question about the existing parking layout. And there's an upper parking lot and a lower parking lot. But for historic site review purposes, the site review, which is not, is not. included. Okay, so therefore, the parking layout, the existing parking layout, upper parking. is-
Okay.
But it could be, if you have questions about it, it could be open for full discussion.
I guess I'm just confused why they have the ADA parking spaces in the lower lot. But they're creating a ramp.
You still have access to the platform from the lower area. And I think there was a discussion last time about difficulties in adding, curb cutouts, and I think some other things up top on Bridge Street. And there are already, a ADA parking available down at that current level, so they're essentially relocating them, not removing them.
But what's the point in creating the ramp if the ADA, why make an
So it's
ADA
for
ramp?
other modes of transportation, walking,
Okay.
cycling, drop off.
Okay,
Do you need me to answer that further?
no, that makes sense.
Do you have an answer? I'd be curious what your response would be.
Well, as you can all imagine, it is really tight quarters down on that lower level. And we are required as part of our grant application to provide access to a public right of way. And so, as you said, different forms of transportation can drop off or pick up, that kind of thing. And that area being so tight down there, it makes sense for us to connect to the public right of way in the area of the ramp and that connection to Bridge Street.
Okay.
Any other comments or questions from the board? So I believe in summary, we have the one condition for taking the handrail, which was option B, you were suggesting.
Correct.
And then staff had, again, within their summary and analysis of the standards, item number 8, which was a condition, if any archaeological resources are uncovered, the applicant will stop and consult CHIPO. And item number 10, which is in the case of if this structure was removed, that the applicant or the property owner would restore it to its original character.
Original grading. restore the natural right.
Great.
So with that said, do I have,
Just a question out of curiosity, would that be imposed on the applicant or the property? Because you would have to think if they no longer needed the land, then it would be the property owner's obligation.
Yeah, I suppose, well, it would be imposed on the site, so it would run with the property and for the ownership.
You feel we should state that sort of.
It would not hurt to see that.
So,
You would like that added to.
Please.
The, first, what Jim is calling, item number 10, standard 10, if the structure is, if the ADA structure is to be removed at any point in the future, the grading will be put back to its natural grade. And that would fall under the responsibility of the property owner to oversee that happens. Fall under the responsibility of the Does that sound correct?
who is for that regime?
Yeah, but the property owner could change it in the.
well, if there's no further discussion, do I have a motion from someone on board? Move this forward.
Make a motion to move resolution 23-01B forward with the conditions noted by the board.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Roll call.
Jim O'Dowd,
Yes.
Rick Perry,
Yes,
Abby Musser, yes, Tom Cockburn,
Yes.
Carla Hughes. Yes.
Thank you.
Alex, you will hear from us, hopefully by Wednesday at the latest, with instructions on how to handle the permit.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. We really look forward to getting this project started and creating better connectivity between our platform and the city of Plattsburgh. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 2 on our agenda is planning board application number 23-03.
I'm just doing the, presentation and everything. Okay, item number 2 on the agenda, 23-03, 5 Wells Street, siding replacement 2023 historic site review. The request is to replace existing wood shake siding with an in-kind white cedar shake shingle to a building located in the Court Street Historic District. The property is located at 5 Wells Street, which is on tax map parcel 207.18-5-16. The property is zoned RH. The owner is Kovac Properties LLC. The applicant is Kovac Properties LLC, and the principal here is Jim Lattimore of Kovac Properties LLC. Here we have an aerial view showing where the property is located on the corner of Court Street and Wall Street. Here, the primary property of the historic district is 127 Court Street towards the northern side of the property. Here on the southern end of the parcel is 5 Wall Street. Here we have a map showing the zoning district. It is located within the RH zoning district, as is everything surrounding it. And here we have the Court Street Historic District. So everything in the bright yellow color is located within the historic district. So that parcel, this parcel, the rear of the parcel is located in that outer area. Sorry. So here we have a view of the property That many bar, how do I hide it?
I don't think you can throw it to the side. See if it will remember.
Alright, so here we have a view of the property, looking at the property from Wall Street, looking southwest. Next we have a property looking northwest, also from Wall Street. Here in the very rear photo on the right hand side, you can see a bit of the 127 Court Street primary structure property. Primary structure, I apologize. General description of the historic property. 5 Wall Street appears as an accessory structure to the primary residence of 127 Court Street on the same parcel, which was converted to a separate residence prior to the parcel nomination in 1981. The exact date of the conversion is unknown, though the Clinton County Real Property Office has confirmed that these two structures have always been part of the same parcel. The structure was built in 1899. The accessory structure has architectural detailing complementary to the primary structure, consistent with a carriage house. At the time of its nomination, the parcel was cited for its architectural significance to the district as an imposing example of the Victorian residential style with period integrity and interesting period details. The house of 127 Court Street was noted as making a significant contribution to the streetscape. Here we have the proposed alterations and materials. The applicant is proposing an in-kind replacement of wood shades that are painted white. Specifically, Concord white is the shade. The brand is FPC white cedar shingles and or Concord white. The application was referred to SHPO. We received the SHPO comments back late Friday evening. The SHPO has noted that the building falls within the National Register listed Court Street Historic District. The building was potentially an outbuilding for 127 Court Street, and the building is clearly undergone alterations since its initial construction, and it is not detailed in the National Register nomination building list. Their office has determined that the building is non-contributing to the district. They also noted that they have no concerns about the work described in the proposal for the building. Department referral comments, we did not receive any comments from departments other than the police and NLP, who had no comment on it. Rather than read through all of these again, I apologize. Do you want me to read through the ones that where a standard applies, or do you want to just read through that within your staff reports?
I'm fine reading through it, and staff reports, the rest of the board is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's going to be 2, 3, 5, 6, and 7.
Thank you. Mr. Latville, do you have any further comments?
Like kind, I'll answer any questions you have.
Sorry, Jim, would you mind if working on this for,
Understand?
if you don't mind? Well, you could maybe pull up a chair and hold it right now.
Shy. I just want to pull out the water. I'll answer any questions you have, it's like kind. So I was putting up, so I was going down, but I said.
Is
Easiest
the,
thing I have to do all night.
is the gable material being switched as well?
Fine.
The area of wall
The
cladding,
little scooby things?
not the scoobies, but just the whole vertical portion, I was wondering.
I don't like that. I know that's texture on the. I thought maybe we go all the way up at the cedar shape. Okay. I think it looked better or horizontal. The spirit between the two.
Any questions or comments from the board?
Is there any significance of them being vertical? Is that like historical significance?
It's historically, it's an architectural detail, however, this is not a creating structure.
So it doesn't matter.
And then the applicant, you just like to continue up with the shingles.
Yeah, I'll bring them up. Probably up where Gable is when you see the vertical siding.
Mhm.
Actually, it's not siding, it's T111. Would like to bring up at that point, underneath that is. We call mounting siding now, we used to do that chip black, or we get it, whatever it's called. That's underneath it. So we're bringing the shakes up, and I'd like to define that area in the front, and that area on the gable end, and maybe a horizontal, T111, so like seven, up and down, left and right, and it look better.
If my ignorance, T111, is that a shape or is that a material?
T111, section 111, it's literally made like paneling,
Okay,
paneling. And unfortunately, it's a cheap way of putting things out here as well. When I bought it, that's not the way I would do it. This building, this siding will sit up for quite a while, so I'm going to look supply to a 4x8 sheet.
I see, okay.
Paneling with the roofs of giants, yeah, well, or I
think we'll be on the exterior.
Yeah. Got it,
I don't
thank you.
yeah.
Think we'll do.
Yeah. Really great.
Okay,
And compliment you for your continued efforts and improvement. I'm trying to.
there's no other comments or questions, we do have, public hearing associated with this application, so. Move to open the public hearing for anybody that has comments. Is there anybody in the audience on Zoom?
No.
No? Okay, if there's no further comments, so close the public hearing. We do have a draft secret resolution 23-03A.
Grab a seat again if you want, you don't want to stand through all this.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Shalice, if you
Hold on.
let me do part two.
I'm gonna find that on my text. 23-03. Again, for anyone in the audience, I will read each question. If no response is heard, I will check no or no impact may occur. Otherwise, if a board member feels that a moderate large impact may occur, please speak up and I think we should discuss. Will the proposed action create a material conflict with an adopted land use plan or zoning regulation? Will the proposed action result in a change in the use or intensity of use plan? Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of the existing community? Will the proposed action have an impact on the environmental characteristics that cause the establishment of a critical environmental area? Will the proposed action result in an adverse change in the existing level of traffic or affect existing infrastructure for mass transit, lighting, or walk? Will the proposed action cause an increase in the use of energy and it fails to incorporate reasonably available energy conservation or renewable energy opportunities? Will the proposed action impact existing public or private water supplies? Will the proposed action impact existing public or private wastewater treatment utilities? Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of important historic, archaeological, architectural, or aesthetic resources? Will the proposed action result in adverse change to natural resources, for example, wetlands, water bodies, groundwater, air quality, flora, and fauna? Will the proposed action result in an increase in the potential for erosion, flooding, or drainage problems? Will the proposed action create a hazard to environmental resources or human health? Three will be completed in coordination with.
So with the completed part one and part two of the seeker, we do have the draft resolution 23-03A. So findings on the seeker. You have a motion to that.
Make a motion to adopt the seeker resolution 23-03A.
Second. Roll call.
Jim Abdallah,
Yes.
Rick Perry,
Yes.
Abby Newsome, yes, Tom Cosgrove,
Yes.
Carly Leary. Yes.
We do have a second resolution 23-03B. For approval of the historic site improvement, application. Do I have a, motion from anybody to move that forward?
Can I just ask me one discussion? Jim, you had indicated some type of a break line between the lower part and the gable ends. Is that sculpted?
No.
And then where would the break be?
Linear,
Okay,
like a 1 by
like a 1x6 or
something or 1 by.
okay. I'll make a motion to approve the request to reside the building with cedar shake.
You have a second? Second. Roll call.
Jim Modell.
Yes.
Jim Perry.
Yes.
Abby Minster, Tom Castro.
Yes.
Carlos O'Leary.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Maybe to receive a parcel map for the next couple of days.
Bye, nice to be the latest.
So moving to our final application of the night, item number 3, planning board application 23-04.
Okay, the last item on the agenda, item 3, 102 is starts with the item 23-04, 102 Bridge Street. Roof replacement 2023 at the historic site review. The request is to replace an existing asphalt shingle roof on the primary and accessory structures with an in-kind asphalt shingle roof. Located at 102 Bridge Street, tax map parcel 207.20-2-2. The property is zoned R2, the owner applicant intends to prepare or factor. Here we have a map, an aerial view showing where the property is located, near the corner of Pike Street and Bridge Street. Here we have another map showing the zoning in the area. This is the yellow area is zoned R2. And here we have a map showing the yellow, to the south is the Point Historic District, to the north is actually the 121 Bridge Street property, which is owned historically. So it is located within the Point Historic District. Here we have a frontage of the property looking southeast from Bridge Street. We also have a view looking southwest of the property. It's difficult to gather pictures of the roof from this angle. The applicant has provided the view. General description of the historic property, significant infrastructure was built starting in 1938. At the time of its nomination, the parcel was cited as a contributing 20th century structure. Intact, in good condition with period details. Other notable features, the structure is a 1.5-story 3-bay house with a gabled roof and facing the street. The main and porch gables have 10 eaves, 6/6 and 3/1 windows, and 2 door. These are some photos the applicant has provided of the roof. Here we can see the deterioration along the shingles and the repair that have taken place. These top 2 pictures are of the house. The bottom 2 pictures are of the accessory garage, showing the condition of that roof as well. The applicant is proposing an in-kind replacement of slate colored asphalt shingles. The brand is Reliant HUV and the shingle color is slate. The application was referred to SHPO, who received a response late Friday evening. They have noted that the building contributes to the Point Historic District, which is on the National Register. Because of this, they have reviewed the project is appropriate and they have no concern. The project was referred to other departments as well. Please, we had no comments, no other. And I will let you review the staff comments within your staff reports, and those could be probably 2, 3, 5, 6 again. 2, 3, 5, and 6. Okay.
Thank you. Mr. Pierce?
Yes.
Did you have anything you would like to offer, or?
I think it's all in the materials I'm supplying already. That's about it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Did the board or anybody from the board have any questions, comments? If not, we do have again, a public hearing associated with this application, so we'll open the public hearing.
Nobody on
No one online. No one in the audience that has any comment, so I will close the public hearing. We do have a draft seeker resolution, 23-04A. Accompanied by part 1 and part 2 completed.
Okay, so for those in the audience, I will read each question. Or for anyone watching, I will read each question. If the board does know where small impact may occur, I will check the box if no response is heard, otherwise board litigation session. Will the proposed action create a material conflict with an adopted land use plan or zoning regulation? Will the proposed action result in a change in the use or intensity of use of land? Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of the existing community? Will the proposed action have an impact on the environmental characteristics that cause the establishment of a critical environmental area? Will the proposed action result in an adverse change in the existing level of traffic or affect existing infrastructure for mass transit, biking, or walkway? Will the proposed action cause an increase in the use of energy and it fails to incorporate reasonably available energy conservation or renewable energy opportunities? Will the proposed action impact public or private water supply? Will the proposed action impact existing public or private wastewater treatment facilities? Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of important historic, archaeological, architectural, or aesthetic resources? Will the proposed action result in an adverse change to natural resources? For example, wetlands, water bodies, groundwater, air quality, flora, and fauna? Will the proposed action result in an increase in the potential for erosion, flooding, or drainage problems? Will the proposed action create a hazard to environmental resources or human health? And part 3 will be completed in coordination with Sharon.
So we've completed part 1 and part 2 seeker forms. We have the draft resolution 23-04A. Motion.
Make a motion to adopt seeker resolution 23-04A.
So second,
I'll second it.
roll call.
Jim Abdallah,
Yes.
Rich Perry,
Yes.
Addie Musinger,
Yes.
Tom Cosgrove,
Yes.
Carter.
Yeah.
So we have a second draft resolution 23-04B. In regards to the historic site improvement. Application. Do I have a motion to move that forward?
I'll make a motion to adopt historic site improvement approval resolution 23-04E as written.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Jim Abdallah,
Yes.
Rich Perry,
Yes.
Addie Musinger,
Yes.
Tom Cosgrove,
Yes.
Carter Leary.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Off of the roof.
You'll receive a determination from us within the next couple of days, and then we'll have that to proceed for building permit with the building department. You should receive an approval notice from us in the next couple of days, and then be able to proceed to the building permit.
Thank you for that.
You're very
Have a great night.
Good night.
So on the other business.
Yeah.
One item I did have was you had indicated that, I think it was in the newspaper about the court disapproving their Tree project. Is the city open to reallocation of any of the funds that were tied to that?
I don't believe we have. On that yet, I will just say in May as to how the city.
That will involve, it will require involvement with the.
Yeah.
So that is an ongoing coordination, it's, even though they're not, it sounds like they're not going to continue with the.
We don't really know that, we just know that.
What do you
So
mean?
they're still coordinating with the contractor to put that plan forward.
There's
See if they-
discussion with prime and then discussion. But no verdicts have been reached that we're aware of.
Give my ignorance on this, I wasn't here for the entire process, but it sounded, what I read was the plan had gotten shot down for a soil remediation plan. And the project then wouldn't move forward, if that's as simple as. Fixing that soil remediation plan and then reapplying, it would be basically back to the beginning because it went through the court process.
They could reapply and, it would be in their best interest to satisfy all conditions if they failed.
Yeah.
To me initially,
Got it.
just because it failed to move forward, does not mean they can come back and apply.
Got
And revise their application.
You just use the application and instead of.
Correct.
Right, but you need a reallocation of funds.
So I believe there's associated funding that the city was contributing as part of their award towards that project.
There was, I don't know the dollar amount, you might.
Corporate one editor, but it was a state grant, it wasn't city. It was a state grant from her state development. So any decision of what might happen with those funds will require coordination with them.
So when you indicate the city isn't considering moving forward with future appeal, but there is opportunity that the applicant could return
There's potential,
to the board.
yes, there's potential, but it's up in the air right now. It will be up to the applicant and to council and conversation.
So that's 10,000 square facility.
I believe that qualifies.
Right, okay. Be nice to get some new projects.
Groundbreaking, groundbreaking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just something, you know, our threshold is 10,000 square feet, so nothing needs that.
Okay. Well, hopefully that will change.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next slide, we'll go to that.
Were there any other questions from the board?
I don't have a question, but just an observation, when staff goes out and takes pictures of properties. And also kind of stay in the public area rather than go on the property. Sometimes you can really improve in pictures if you were on site. Could you make that a statement as part of the application process that?
We could actually have that exact coverage.
Okay, I just, well, that when the applicant applies, it's authorizing permission to access the property just for the purpose of taking pictures of it.
Yeah, it's something we've discussed and we're gonna put it in the next iteration of the application.
Do you need our support, or do you want our support on that?
It never hurt.
Yeah, it's for effort. But
I think it's a great idea.
Okay, yeah, then I'll make a motion that we request the staff add to the application a statement that by an applicant signing and pursuing an application to achieve whatever objective they want, that the staff have permission to enter the property for the purpose of taking pictures.
What's the status, what was the timeframe for updating the application? Were we holding on?
We originally discussed holding off until the zoning update was done, but then I think we decided we're gonna just.
Because the fees are on top of it. The fees are listed at the top of the application.
We're concerned that review it, but that means we can modify. Yeah, originally we were considering holding off on revising the application until we had a new. Zoning update to advise what we need in the historic site review application.
If you don't want to support, offer the motion and support to do that.
I believe an application, amendment of an application is something that can occur through this board. It doesn't have to reach to the common council level.
Yeah.
Right. But fees do,
Fees, but
yeah.
yeah, we can just modify an application to. Address whatever standards need to be met.
Okay. Yes, we have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
Second.
Roll call?
Jim Bell,
Yes.
Rick Perry,
Yes.
Abby Newsarder, yes, Tom Coster,
Yes.
Carly Murray. Yes.
Any other thoughts, questions, discussion?
Quick thought, just while we're talking about these things, I think it's been a couple of years since we've been on board now, yeah, we're reviewing some of these things. Yeah, one of the things I've noticed is we see, I mean, the last application tonight, application 3, it's an emergency roof replacement. I can see how our process might delay repairs that could lead to further cost from those homeowners, which might not make them inclined to work with the city in the future. Is there a way for us to streamline that process when they're replacing in kind with same materials in order to make emergency repairs?
At this point, no,
Other than, I do believe that the building inspector has an authority to
Okay.
offer to us. Or to authorize an emergency repair for stabilization purposes, but it's to stabilize. Don't need to redo the
Or replacement? Okay,
Kind of like what he was doing with someone that's trying to reverse stuff.
sure.
Yeah, but as for the zoning update, functionality. Provide to that, we discuss that.
right, one alternate idea I was thinking of is if there could be emergency meetings. With the planning board, that I mean,
Emergency planning board meetings.
and, yeah, if. Potentially, the planning board could decide to hold a meeting outside of the regularly scheduled meeting, but it would have to be publicized. In the proper, with the proper means for this.
Okay.
So that could be an option, it's not as quick as, a rubber stamp
Yeah,
by the building division to allow it to move
Yeah.
forward under emergency circumstances. And then the other, is our long-term hopeful fix through the zoning update.
Okay.
To revise that criteria and hopefully allow for an administrative approval.
Yeah.
For situations like that.
Yeah, I
Provided
agree.
materials are in.
Yeah.
Will actually.
I mean, Jim and Rick, you guys have been here longer than I have, and Rick, you were in the buildings department prior, right? So. I mean, I can't imagine a situation where this board would deny somebody with a leaky roof to replace it with the exact same materials that they currently have there. And it would just draw the ire of that homeowner against the building department for the situation. So I don't know what else could be done, or what, I guess what's the flip side of why would that need to come to us? Has there been cases where folks have said that they're gonna replace in kind in one of these districts and then done the opposite, and that's what we're trying to avoid with this process, or I don't know.
So number one, I think, since my time on the board. Staff has been trying to come up with ways to streamline, but the way our ordinance is written, it's so. It's clear, but it's not,
Okay,
I'll say that, and basically ties us to very tight standards. And then we're looking at federal architectural standards. There's not a lot of leeway. I mean, initially, when applications used to come forward, for a majority of the time I was on the board until seeker regulations were changed, I believe it was. Applicants were required to fill out a long. So they had to fill out a 12-page form for even seeker to get passed. And if we had to go through a long form seeker, actually had to read that. We would be here for a while. So yeah, we have pared down where possible.
Yeah,
To answer your question about replacement in kind, roofs is one thing, although. Again, there are some structures that are slated,
right.
you know what I mean? So yeah, most people are not proposing to replace in kind, they have slate roofs.
Yeah.
And as I think about it, you know, there's other applications that we've had in front of us, with windows or porch repairs, other things that are detrimental that people didn't want to do in kind, so it's a.
The building code creates two distinct categories. One, emergency repair, the other is replacement. And that's where the two regulations differ. So,
So it's not replacement and then replacing kind, or let's say.
repair, Joe authorizes an emergency repair.
Yeah.
We authorize permanent replacement.
Okay. Yeah. Thank
Some
you.
of these window road, you know, it was a historical window. Like I'm thinking, I have like those lead drop windows in my apartment that they have to keep. If that broke, they could repair it, but then if they wanted to ultimately fix it, they would probably have to do an in-kind.
Technically, the way the historic regulations are written, that even the degree of care that you have to take in replacement, or if you were working, say, on a brick building, you can't just go in and sandblast it. You have to take a more direct care of the material.
It's how it's done.
It's how, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
So-
what it's done.
but it's not like they're gonna make you have a open broken window until they come to play.
That's, that can be done through
Yeah.
emergency repair staff. So,
Yeah, I just see, so thank you both for that discussion. I appreciate that context and that discussion there. I just see a situation where people let a bad situation fester because it's easier than the alternative and causing more damage than maybe we did. So thank you.
Thank you. There's no further discussion, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
I.
Thank you.
Thank you.